Hey guys, this is early Friday morning, and I thought I would give you a little preview of what's coming up. I was going to hold on to some of this for a little while, but something prompted it. Something prompted me to take some of this information out of files where I had it tucked away. So, real quickly, back a few months ago, someone sent me some information about Mike's Instagram profile. They sent some profiles of women who were very svelte and whatnot and posing a certain way. They sent that to me and thought it was interesting. I said, no, that isn't to me, because anybody can follow anyone. If your account is not in private mode on Instagram, anybody in the world can make up an account and follow you. Has nothing to, you didn't choose to have them follow you unless you invited them to. But I said, I would be more interested in who is he following. So that caused me to go look at his Instagram profile. The first thing I saw was, or one of the first things I saw as I scrolled, was this thing right here, dark manipulation. So I sent that to the person and said, this causes more interest to me than the other thing, because for you to follow someone on Instagram, you have to make the choice to do it. Could your finger have slipped and you hit follow by mistake? Possibly. That's a possibility. There's always that possibility, right? But when there are other things as well in the list that kind of go along with that, that made me perk up. So I just placed it to the side and didn't do anything with it. But I still kept researching. I looked at every single one of the profiles that he follows. And then I looked them up to see what they were about and found a lot of interesting things. First, I had to make sure, is this for sure Mike's account? Or is somebody, because there's only two posts. One's I guess you could call a spiritual one. It has a quote. And one is a private one where I guess he was getting a motorcycle lesson or something. He's got and then he actually, I found out today, has another Instagram account that's just his name. There's no picture with the profile, but there are two photos. And I was able to go between the two different accounts he has, and I did my best to verify that it is for sure him. And I can tell you in the longer video how I did that, so you understand how I came to that conclusion. But I feel confident that both of these accounts are his, but I'm just dealing with this one right now, where he's following, I think it might be over 600 different people. And as I scrolled through it, things made sense. He's following profiles that have to do with the guitar, with the piano, with different musicians, health stuff, travel, learning different languages, jiu-jitsu, and there's some juggling in there, and there's different other things. And then there's dancing, not just ballroom type dancing or something, but also street dancing and shuffling. I don't know if you know what shuffling is, but you can look that up. That's in there too. You can just go to his Instagram profile. I've already copied it all, the stuff that I want from it, but just go look yourself. And then I did a cross check between his account and Tanya's, and his account and Tanya's, and other people that are in the corporation that follow them both, and just different checks I made. Anyway, it wasn't until this past week when a young man who just left NTCC and left the Bible school before finishing, which I admire. I really admire that, because that's something I didn't even have the clarity of mind to do. He posted a comment on YouTube that said there was a time recently where Kekel recommended one of his favorite books for everyone to read. I guess they'd learn something from it. And it's called The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. And it's based, like, it's supposed to be sort of like an updated version of Machiavelli's The Prince, which was written, I believe, back in the 1500s. And then I have to say to myself, is this guy lying about it? Is he just saying this? And I always have to hold that possibility open. I always have to think of it in a balanced way. But I see no reason to question that at this point in time. If he posted that and any student up at the school or anyone read that and said, that's not true, Kekel never did that, we would have heard, or we will hear. But that can also be a tactic. So we've seen that in play. People come and defend things about the videos and they've never even listened to them. They've just read the title. So for now, I see no reason to, this young man, I feel like, has nothing to gain by doing that. He would only have a lot to lose by just coming out and lying. And I don't think he has. I don't think he has at this point in time, like with this information. So I went online and I found a way to borrow the audiobook through my library. And I wasn't the only one. But prior to doing that, I just typed in to see a little summary, if I could find one, on what it was about. And what I found was, you know how when you type things in Google, there will be like so many questions asked. Why is this book important? Because it's on the New York Times bestseller list, I believe, and it was written in 1998. I saw that, and I have a screenshot here, that I guess there are prisons that have banned the book because of the manipulation, the manipulative tactics and tools that are in there. Here is this self-professed man of God telling students in a Bible school that this is one of my favorite books. Read it. It'll give you some insight. Okay. I couldn't get past the preface. And then when I saw the chapter titles, I was like, oh my God. How does anybody pick up this book and say, I think I want to read this? And I thought, well, maybe there's more to it. No, there's not. It's actually boring. It's very boring to listen to. But it's eye-opening because I don't understand. Like, I have the screenshot here of the Amazon page where this is considered like a positivity poster to put in a classroom or a bedroom or an office of the 48 laws. I was thinking, who? Just read through those. Just read through the chapter titles. And so I don't get it. Putting all this together, I then said, here's the link I'm going to use, the thread, to show that Dennis and the House of Prayer Church, they broke off from Davis. And remember, Davis broke off from a group himself saying they were compromisers. And then he had it done to him. But he helped to create. Dennis, of course, is an autonomous man with his own thoughts and he made his own decisions. But he learned from Davis. He was propped up by Davis. He was the Davis golden boy at the time. He was being trotted out there like this guy's the bomb, man. He's it. You preachers, you want to know what to do? Follow this guy. Follow this guy. And then when Dennis left and people followed him because Davis had been telling them, hey, he's the man. Then he claimed before all of us that God had shielded his eyes from what was happening, even though there were preachers that came and told him what was happening and concerns they had. So it's a mess. It's all a mess. Not only are both groups a mess, but it's the people. It's the collateral damage from these two cults of people's lives, real people. And so that's why there's this warning and exposing of their activities and of their attitudes and of their own words. The clips I play are of Kekel, of Kinson, of different ones. And so I'm going to use all of this information here that I've gathered as a springboard for showing you. And I'm hoping that through that as well, we can reach more military to warn them and to let them see all of these connections between the two groups. Am I saying NTCC is like House of Prayer and Dennis? No. It's the manipulation tactics. It's the indoctrination. It's the mind control. It's the reprogramming of individuals to become part of the larger group think, group act. And in the meantime, supposedly, NTCC is this organization that's been raised up to reach the world with the gospel. And yet, you never hear Kekel talk about it. Never hear talk about souls, about anybody he ran into and talked to, anything. He doesn't share anything about the missionaries. He doesn't share anything about the school over in the Philippines. His mind isn't on that, clearly, because he doesn't talk about it. And he doesn't act on that foundation or that premise. And so this is where we're going. We're going to go venture into these waters of connecting the two groups so that you can see. I've heard from a lot of people too who were a part of HOP, and just breaks my heart. I mean, they are so much more wicked in their tactics and everything. I saw Angry Mike on display in the service tonight. He's worked up. He's worked up. He has to have an enemy. And that is part of the tactics. So you want to understand why he says what he says and does what he does in the services, and why it has nothing to do with faith or the gospel or anything. Look at the chapters in the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Okay, guys, have an awesome sauce of a Friday, and I will definitely see you over the weekend.